started doing this themselves as well. There's little piles of gravel down by Barnes & Noble where someone else did the same thing and got tired and walked away and quit doing it.
Tell me what you're doing here, Senator French.
We are trying to do a little community activism by grabbing some brooms and cleaning up the dust and the dirt and the volcanic ash left over from the winter because DOT has not been taking care of the roads. The city has done a good job on their parts of the streets in town, but the state roads are just not getting maintained. Bicyclists are unhappy with the state of the roads. They're slipping and falling in the gravel. So we thought we'd come out here and do a little bit of a, do a little can-do arm grease kind of a cleanup.
Have you talked to DOT about this?
We've sent them 2 letters and have not gotten any real response to our complaints.
So you took, who else is here?
We've got the Senator Johnny Ellis, Lindsey Holmes, Mike Dugan, both representatives, community activists. I see Nancy Grosick, who's a well-known person from town. Harriet Drummond's just showed up, some of our aides, and we thought we're just going to work this stretch of road and see if we can get a little bit of pressure on DOT and do some good at the same time. Actually do something constructive, which for a legislator is always something you take pride in.
It's about time you did something. What you are doing here?
Well, this summer we've received, in my legislative office, a lot of complaints from constituents, bike riders, people who have breathing problems with the dust. Just lots of complaints that the city does a much better job in sweeping the streets in a timely manner, and that the state does a really poor job of doing that. During the legislative session, we asked DOT, do you have the money to get the streets swept and maintained during the summer? And the answer was yes, we have adequate resources. And it's, the end of June and the streets aren't completely swept in this town. I guess there's one small contractor trying to get it done, but it's just not a good job, good service from the state. And the municipality and the state have shared responsibility of the roads for street sweeping and snow removal. The city does a much better job than the state does, and it's embarrassing. So we get a lot of complaints and calls, and we haven't been able to get action quick enough. So we're out here to send a message to Commissioner Von Schaben that he needs to pay more attention to this, that this year and next year in particular, the state needs to do a better job of getting the streets swept, because the citizens deserve good service.
We are out cleaning up the streets because, as many of our constituents have noticed, they're not really getting done in a timely manner. This, I don't know how well you can see over here, this is supposed to be a sidewalk. It was covered in about this much dirt and ash and gravel. So we're just out here kind of sending a sign to the Department of Transportation that if they're not going to get it done, the citizens are going to go to work.
Difference being that the city is taking care of their streets.
City appears to, there seems to be some kind of snafu with the Department of Transportation, and we're just out here sending the signal that if you're not going to do it, we will. This is a major bike path in downtown Anchorage, and it's unacceptable to have it covered in inches of gravel and dirt at this time. We're almost into July.
Well, we're having sort of a combination of clean up the bike trail and sort of symbolic protest to the fact that the state has been unable here in late June to clean its streets and sidewalks from last winter. And we've been in conversations, I guess you'd call it, with DOT, but a lot of people are looking at this and saying, hey, what's up? It's practically July.
What's DOT saying?
Well, it's a combination of things. They used to do this with the city. This is the way it's explained to me. So the city used to do it all and the state would pay them. Then they got into a beef about price, so the state decided to do it. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but this year they awarded this to a guy who had one street sweeper and stuff. And you get the result you get. Now I'm told they've got an engineer who's sort of sitting on this guy's shoulder trying to get this work done by the 1st of July,
but here we are.
So here we are. So, I've had a number of constituents complain to me about this, and so has Hollis French and Johnny Ellis and some other people, and there's community people here who've been listening to their neighbors, and we just decided it was time, to sort of make a point, and that's what we're really doing here, is just trying to make a point about this. And if you look at this bike trail and decide that you're going to try and ride down it the way it is, good luck to you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
When I learned to clean from the top down. The state and the city both do it wrong. They leave the sidewalks and the medians for later. They clean the streets first, and the sidewalks and the medians are covered with gravel and dirt, which gets swept into the now clean roads by the passage of vehicles and pedestrians and bicycles and strollers and so on. And they haven't done it right yet. Even the city hasn't cleaned a lot of sidewalks. But we're here about the state, and this is ridiculous. Sweeping it into the grass doesn't do it any good, because who's going to clean it out of the grass? You know, I have constituents calling me about the gravel that gets blown into their yards by the street cleaners in the wintertime. And how do you get it out of the out of your grass or your shrubs or anything else that's in your yard? It's virtually impossible to pick up. And even if suppose you put 100 tons of gravel down in the winter. Suppose you clean up 90% of it. Suppose you could actually pick it up. Well, that leaves 10 tons on the ground, in the lawns, on the streets, everywhere. And the next winter, the same thing. And pretty soon, you're cleaning up the same gravel that you should have cleaned up 2 and 3 and 4 and 6 years ago. It's just a ridiculous process, and there has to be a better way. Not to mention that the snow's been gone for months, and I've been getting complaints
it's the end
from
of June.
constituents. Yeah. What is it, April? I mean, you know, the snow was gone by Election Day.
Yeah.
And, you know, I keep time by Election Day.